Good afternoon, everyone. Appreciate you attending today. This is the last one in our series. We're so excited to have Trend Micro with us. We will be starting in just a really short time here. If you have questions throughout our chat, please enter them in the questions box, and then at the end of the chat, we will take all questions at that time. So we'll be back with you in a few. Good afternoon, everyone. Appreciate you joining us once again. Today, we have Aaron and Todd with us from Trend Micro. We are going to be going over avoiding cloud misconfiguration and best practices around cloud security, among other things that our customers are facing at this time. So, and I always forget to introduce my coworkers and friends. Phil, Dan, and I are here hosting as always. So for those of you that have been attending, we thank you. And it's once again, let's start this thing off with a funny story. We'll go ahead and Aaron, if you have something that you know that would entertain us all about something with COVID-19 or whatever's happened in the last few weeks while you've been stuck at home, please share with us.
Sure. Gatherings and people getting together now are obviously things that are few and far between. And so it was garbage day here in the neighborhood that I lived. And it just so happened that a bunch of us were taking out our garbage bins at the same time. I live on a court. And totally unplanned, totally unscripted, but we're all going down the driveway all at the same time and all just kind of looking at each other like, oh, this is really kind of weird. And I'm not talking about like just me and my neighbor. I'm talking about like me, my neighbor, my other neighbor, my neighbor across the street, and my neighbor down the road. And we all get to the end of the driveways at the same time. We just kind of all stare at each other, do a little bit of a wave, and just start busting up laughing. Like, like what is this? How are we doing this? And normally you wouldn't think anything of it, but because we haven't seen each other and we don't talk to each other very much, all of us being in our homes, it was a really funny moment on garbage day, taking out your trash. So.
The little things, right?
Yeah, little things.
It's like people. Everybody was excited.
Right, exactly.
That's awesome.
So Todd and Aaron, thank you very much for all your help that you've been providing Champion. No doubt about that. We've been very, very close, and we're getting closer as a partner. But I think one of the things that maybe is that you need to let our audience know is how you guys have been helping, your customers, during this very tough time. They've got a lot on their plate, and maybe you guys can, spend a few minutes letting us know how you've been helping your customer base.
Yeah. So the first thing that we have. Oh, the screen just went green. Are you guys there?
Yeah, we're here.
We're here.
That's okay. Your green background, so now you can do the weather if you want to.
I guess, yeah. Coming in, we've got a front coming in from the north. The first thing that Trend Micro has been offering is a program for remote workers. We actually have been offering our security services and our endpoint services for 6 months for free. And so literally you can use, one of the top rated best AV and EDR enterprise services at home for endpoint detection and response for 6 months without any cost. That's very valuable and something that's been very, very helpful from a consumer standpoint to be able to leverage and use technology and stay secure on your home computers and home PC. And we're actually getting, I think we had over 120,000 downloads of the software. So quite a few people have taken advantage of it. And, you know, obviously with everybody being on their home computers and as we mentioned earlier in the call with people running school, you know, classes for their kids day after day after day, having that security product and ensuring that asset that you're using to connect to the internet and connect to all these other people being secure, very, very valuable and has been well received kind of globally as well as here in North America. The second thing that we're doing from a customer perspective is offering health checks. We are going and speaking to our customers that have our products or our portfolio of products. Trend Micro has 56 different products, as you well know. So there's quite a spectrum of opportunity to speak towards someone or to someone about a Trend Micro product. Regardless, what we're doing is with customers that have our product base installed, regardless of the version, we are working with them to utilize it, tweak it, improve their standing, improve their environment, provide sort of a consultative expert opinion on how the use is, how the integration has been in their environment, how they could better use our solution set, not sell them anything. Not ask for any additional dollars, not ask for any service dollars, but rather go through and say, look, you know, we see this same solution set installed 2 million times, 20 million times, right? Here's the best practices that we see coming straight from us, straight from the vendor. And so these health checks have also been well received, not to the scale, obviously, of our consumer product that I spoke of before. Also is tied to resources, right? So there's a different constraint that's on there. As you're aware, Trend Micro is not a services organization, but we are offering this to them to give them much more value out of purchases that they've already made.
Yeah, I think that's extremely important. As you know, one of the things that we're big on in our practice too is making sure that folks are leveraging their technology and their processes correctly. And, you know, so I know that health check is going to be a big boost to customers, not only for seeing the value for your products, but then giving them the confidence, you know, in their overall processes, you know, through securing their enterprise. So I think that's big. Okay.
Yeah, it's actually, I just have to step in here for a second. You were really, we do so many talks. The fact that you have folks that are at home that really need security, and we always think of it, I think so far really from a corporation standpoint, but you know, like you said, teachers and folks that need that security more than ever, they're always in their classroom, right? I just think that's very admirable that you're doing that because you know, it is needed, and I'm sure people are very grateful that wasn't another expense they had. So really cool. Nice to hear that.
So
Okay.
you had mentioned the work at home, which I obviously see, as you had mentioned, right? People had a rush to work at home, work remotely using their home computers. So I totally get why they would want to download Trend Micro's protection there on those devices that probably normally weren't used for work. But it brought a thought up in my mind, and other clients we've seen, I'm curious what you think about this, is that rush to the cloud. It seems that a lot of folks, right, weren't prepared to move 90% of their people over VPN. They had performance issues. They started moving things to the cloud real quickly. And normally these are, you know, long-term projects planned out, and people were doing these in a matter of weeks. So does Trend have something around there that helps people with that to make sure, hey, just because you moved it to the cloud doesn't mean we did it correctly? And is it secure?
Most assuredly. And actually, I'm glad you brought that up. Microsoft released a number about, at this point, it might have been a month ago. Apologies. I don't know if it's February right now or December. At some point recently, Microsoft did release an article, and I read it. So that article said that Microsoft's Azure services, the demand on Microsoft's Azure services has gone up 775%. And
Wow.
the street responded very, very healthily to that. In fact, the article that I read to that was a Motley Fool article, but you know, Forbes, everyone saw that and was like, Microsoft's doing great business-wise, right? At least in their Azure services division, right? So So that's 100% true, and it's quantifiably true, right? An 800, I'll round up, an almost 800% increase in demand on their cloud services. And obviously, we've seen Zoom and VPN F5, those sorts of companies that are big in that also have an increase or a spike in their demand. And so yes, at Trend Micro's Cloud One platform services cloud, and each component of the cloud, be it workload, network, application, container, and the configuration of the cloud very, very well. And actually what we're going to speak today is the Cloud One conformity component of our Cloud One offering suite. And it deals with the misconfiguration or the configuration or the setup of the cloud. And so we also have something that's available for free as part of Trend Micro's giving back to the community that ties to this component as well. So with Trend Micro's Cloud One conformity, the configuration engine that we have, or the tool set that we have that scans the cloud, we also give away the rules that we use to scan the cloud for free. So our customers or prospects can go to our knowledge base and see what we're scanning against, but not only see what we're scanning against, also see how to remediate the findings. So if a customer is setting up a cloud storage environment and they're using a blob and they're using a SQL Server and they're using MySQL, we have the rules there that are available for them to know how to properly configure that SQL database, that are available for them to properly configure the blob for storage, thus preventing unencrypted data from being exposed in your blob out there in your Azure application. So yes, exactly. And another instance of something that Trend Micro is doing to give back and try to add value.
Well, that's actually really cool. So because it's not just a Google search like, hey, I always did this on premise, I need to learn how to do this in the cloud, but you're really kind of giving them a playbook in a sense, right? So it's not just an article or something. You actually have the rules and the remediation. So to me, that's a playbook. Here's our best practices to do what you need to do, right?
Yep. And then the last bit, I know we're hitting on a value that we're adding, value that we're adding. The last bit of value that we're adding is part of the offering that we have in the Azure piece of this Cloud One conformity configuration cloud posture management tool, is a special offer for us here as part of Champions. So with a select group, we're going to market with, and I don't know if Todd even told you guys this yet, so I kind of want to see your faces. We're going to market on Azure with certain partners will get access to offer this for 6 months with no charge. So we've got our Azure Cloud One conformity product, and up until September 30th, you're able to give the production solution away as part of our partnership for 6 months at no charge, which is just one more thing that we're trying to do to add value, and one more thing that we're trying to do to get everybody in that's rushing to the cloud, that's trying to deal with configurations, to do it well and to do it securely.
Hey, that's great, Aaron. One thing that you mentioned Azure multiple times, is when we're talking about cloud, is that available on other clouds as well?
It is, yes. We do have AWS as well. So we've actually got a exhaustive, very deep, very wide solution set in AWS. And the feature parity between AWS and Azure is on the rise, which is kind of where we're heading from a roadmap perspective. So, multi-cloud there.
So, Aaron, I got a quick question. So before, obviously, cloud conformity and Cloud One's been around for a while. So even before, this whole everybody's working at home, rushing to the cloud, in your past experiences working with folks, even those that might have had experience, when you run your checks, I mean, how often do you find and it could be minor, but issues that they needed to address?
I've been doing this for, over a year, and I have yet to find somebody who's we come away with a clean slate or a goose egg. So
okay, and I would imagine that was Yeah, I would imagine that was the case. That's why I asked the question. And of course, again, my point of people taking months to move it and plan it out, still making some mistake. It's a human error. Um, shrinking that down to 2-3 week process, the chances of making some errors go through the roof. So I love the cloud conformity piece.
Thank you. Yeah.
I have a question for you guys. Just a lot of times I know from our client managers, they thought of Trend only from the antivirus side of things.
Well, I think it's important for folks to know that, Trend Micro has been around for over 30 years and is a pure play security company. So we do protection from the endpoint to the data center and cloud and to the network as well. So we always have our eyes on the pulse of what's going on in the world, making sure that your data and is protected. So it's really important to have a good understanding that we take a look at the entire landscape that you're looking to protect. So today we're talking a lot about cloud, but we can also protect the endpoint, the data center, and the network as well. I think one of the differentiators with Trend as well is, there's a lot of point products in the marketplace. And when you're taking a look at an environment, the integration portions of it, will this product work with this product? Will it do all these things? A lot of folks that are Trend users actually like that we have the single console, that everything is integrated together, that we work well with other products, with our APIs that we have together. So when you're looking for a solution and you're trying to maybe narrow down some of the products that you have in an environment and have an integrated solution that gives you full protection and works and speaks together, that's a huge advantage and something that Trend does bring to the table.
You're muted, Phil.
Yeah,
I see you talking. Okay.
I was just saying to myself that's a great point. Matter of fact, that was the case of a prospect that we were working with over the weekend too. And Trend was so nice to help us at 5 o'clock on a Friday to make sure that we got the information to the customer that was correct.
So, hey, Aaron, Todd, this was great. Thank you so much. I think I'm personally amazed at how much you've been giving back to the community, both, folks at home and corporations. So we will make sure that we're taking advantage of that for our customers as well. So next up, everybody, we will have on June 4th, Sumu Logic. I said the wrong thing again. Gosh darn it. I have myself teed up, but I said the wrong thing. And at this point, Dan, go ahead and run our slide to talk about all the other things that are coming up. And we will go ahead and ask questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you for not forgetting the questions this time, Tammy.
All right. Say that every time, Dan.
Because you always forget the question. You say thanks.
I know.
Like, stop ending it like that.
And I always say the wrong company too.
Not just the wrong company, Tammy, but in this case, this is the final chat of this series, just so you know. But folks out there, we are ready to take some questions. I hope folks do. If you missed any of these chats, look at some of these in the links. We will send this to you. You can go back and take a view of some of these chats. But at this point, let's get to the questions. Phil, Tammy, do we have people posting questions? I'm not looking at the questions, so Tammy or Phil, you got that?
Yeah, we have just one. This might have been covered a little bit, but it looks like that somebody is asking about a POC and what kind of commitment on their part would it take in order for them to essentially set up a POC and run it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the good news is it takes less than 15 minutes. There's no software that's installed. We actually simply connect to the metadata and the CloudTrail logs and the security center in your environment. You connect your Azure subscription or your other cloud subscriptions, and in less than 15 minutes you are set up, and we are running scans and giving you data and reports back on compliance and those sorts of things.
So,
Yeah,
Aaron,
and then
go ahead,
go
Phil.
ahead.
Sorry. I was going to follow up, but go ahead.
Yeah, there was just one more question here that I see is I think someone is asking that we spoke about AWS and Azure. Are there any other clouds that you now support with conformity?
Not yet, as of this broadcast or as of this moment, but you will see GCP coming in the second half of this year.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, sorry about that, Dan. Go ahead. We're
No,
done.
it's all good with the questions. I wasn't watching them. I was following up on the POC answer. So, Aaron, obviously easy to get set up. You got to get, no software to install. It's API calls, right? So it's just credentials. How long do they typically last? I mean, you run it, you give like a default report, or is it more going back and forth with the customers? I'm just curious.
Oh, it's very much a consultative approach. It's we actually call them health checks. We don't necessarily call them POCs, just because we set up time. We have a regular cadence. So we give you up to a month if you need it. Typically, it's about 14 days, 12 to 14 days that this will go. You'll go back and forth with my solution architects, my engineers, as well as the account team on it. So it's very consultative and meant to be quite exhaustive in a good way.
In a good way. But so I mean, you're giving a lot of education away in my mind to me.
Very much so.
Which is good. Okay. All right. Are there any other questions, guys? And I know this one is hitting actually pretty good, like literally at the 21 marker where we said we would.
Yeah, it looks like somebody just raised their hand. Hang on a second. Maybe not. No questions out there. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up, everybody. Thank you for attending. We do actually post this on our website, and all of the chats we've done this entire series. If you go to championsg.com/blog, you can see all of them we did, and you'll find that a lot of our vendors did offer some things for free. But I have to tell you, Trend Micro today, you hit it out of the park. This is such a valuable solution for our customers, and we're working with you guys daily, which is just a real pleasure. So for anyone that wants to look at those, please do, and look for new webinars coming up down the road. We like doing this. We love your feedback, and so we'll wrap it up. And thank you very much.
Yeah, and I thank you for saying that, Tammy. All the vendors have stepped up. A lot of free things everybody was given. A lot of people did reach to us. I honestly wish more did. But out of all of them, I gotta say this is the most frictionless one. And at the worst case scenario, you can get a checkup of your cloud environment for free. So I hope people take advantage of this one. But thank you, everybody. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Todd from Trend. It was a pleasure having you with us today.
Yeah, thank you, folks. And thanks for the attendees. We sure enjoyed doing this chat series. Hopefully you got a lot out of it. Again, as Tammy said, if you missed one, then go back to our blog site and hopefully you'll be glad to download the other ones that you've missed. But again, it's our pleasure to do this for you. Thanks again.
Bye-bye, everybody.